Madison or MetroKiaofMadison.com.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studios in Madison. This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Baby Brust has arrived. Welcome to Baby Brust to this world. I'm sure Baby Brust is going to be much better than Papa Brust, as in Ben. Don't you agree?
You almost have to be. Almost have to be.
The bar is set pretty low?
That's right. Yeah, luckily and thankfully, Baby Brust will be taking all of Ben's Brust attention this week. So
yes.
It'll be you and me on the horn.
We'll be holding it down once again. Congratulations to Ben on
what a
his
blessing.
Beautiful baby. Congratulations. Congratulations, like Brad said. Absolutely, what a blessing for Baby Brust. So it will be myself, Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman, holding it down here for KBN all week long here on ESPN Wisconsin, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Now, Brad, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I was out Friday and
you
returned from Jacksonville, so it was lovely. The weather was pretty nice.
So you went down to Jacksonville.
70s. I did.
I felt like it was kind of like a silent mission. You kind of jetted out, jet back real quick.
Yeah, it was a quick little retreat in and out, but I think that's the thing. It was just the right amount of time, early Friday morning to late Sunday night, but you couldn't keep me away from too long. I got to be here hanging out with you, talking to our KBN Nation. And it feels good to be back. I will say it looks like I brought some nice weather with me. I was not expecting to come back and see snow already melted. That is one surprise.
It has definitely melted, but nice weather. I guess 40s and high 30s in January is something that we can't complain about here in Wisconsin.
I will say when all of our Florida friends was asking, how's weather been and how's Wisconsin been? When I tried to describe to them, at least out by us in the western suburbs, of like 15 to 20 inches of snow over a few days, and then like 8 straight days under zero. They didn't even have a category for it. So I felt a little tougher. I'm not going to lie. Like, I can handle that.
It was ridiculous. Just even thinking about how cold it was and then how the temperature has changed significantly since. And speaking of temperatures changing, boy, oh boy, how the temperature changed in a game in San Francisco yesterday for them Lions. And so, as I said last week before we left, I wasn't planning on watching any of these games. It was too stressful, too sad, too hurt to have to deal with the stress of my Green Bay Packers not making it. But I was told that the Lions kind of got welcomed into the Heartbreak Hotel, understanding what heartbreak feels like, understanding when you get this far and then all of a sudden you don't win a game, what that feels like over the weekend, Brad.
It's ironic, right? Because the Packer fans and Wisconsin fans in general, when you think about all the Wisconsin sports, Wisconsin football, basketball, the Bucks even recently, and for sure the Packers, countless memories of the Packers of heartbreak. In order to really have heartbreak, you need to be on a stage where the heartbreak actually hurts.
Yeah.
And the Lions have not felt that
never
in like 30 years, right? Almost ever. So when you see all these Lions fans that are experiencing it, and trust me, there were plenty throughout the airport, they were everywhere, right? Lions fans coming out of the woodwork. They felt the experience that Packer fans have been feeling for decades now of like so close yet so far. And the reality is, they've been living in a world where they have protected themselves from heartbreak. They don't even have the opportunity to feel heartbreak.
I don't know if they protected themselves on purpose from heartbreak. True. I think it might be something that was forced upon them to have to protect themselves away from what this heartbreak feels like. That's why I don't feel bad for them whatsoever.
No.
Whatsoever, because welcome to my misery in my life. Yes, being a loser, losing sucks. But you know what sucks more than losing? Actually having an opportunity to be somebody and you just can't get over the hump to be something special. That's what sucks. And that's the thing that makes me a little bit nervous as we look forward. And yeah, the Detroit Lions lost yesterday, but you know who else lost yesterday? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has tried year after year. This is multiples. He's going to potentially win his second MVP this year. But Lamar Jackson still can't get over the hump of getting to a championship game, which makes me think about this. We're all excited about this Green Bay Packer football team. Everybody, after the loss to San Francisco, we're like, hey, we're young. Don't be upset. Jordan Love, first-year starter, top 3 in touchdown passes. He's going to get better. You see the receiving core and tight ends? They're all babies out there. This is a young team. This is the team of the future. But guess what? Sometimes the team of the future never comes to fruition where you actually win championships. Ask Lamar Jackson. Ask the Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton, a team that you played on. It ain't that easy just all of a sudden to think that your Super Bowl window is open. So, Brad, my question, 800-990-3776 for everybody. Are we a little afraid here that we could be the Detroit Lions? We could be the Carolina Panthers in 2015. We could be the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow, who went to a Super Bowl, hasn't been since. Are we a little bit afraid that the Packers, who have the third best NFC odds to go to the Super Bowl next year, may never crack through or break through?
You know, I do have a little bit of fear for it. And it's nothing against the Packers. It's nothing against any team. But I am second place Brad. I know what this journey is like. I know what it feels like to get there, to get close and never quite win it. And so when I look at the Packers, right, it does seem like they hold the deck in their hands, where they're like they have everything ahead of them, a ton of optimism, a ton of youth, and able to make some noise for years to come. The reality is, though, it's never that easy. And your window, particularly in the NFL, your window opens and shuts before you can even think. Even teams that you thought were going to be dynasties of sorts. Like, remember the Seattle Seahawks? That was the NFC juggernaut in my day when I was playing. They won a Super Bowl and they got to one. Everybody thought that was going to roll on for 8 years. It lasted for 2. For 2 seasons, they were the ones that were able to get to the Super Bowl and be that team before it all fell apart. So it usually happens earlier than you think. You can't sustain it for as long as you think. And that provides a little bit of fear for me because I know I had 2 different experiences, right? One with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, second place, Brad. This is where it comes from.
Yep, that's right. And, the Panthers, we had a young crew as well, right? A young team. You were developing something special.
MVP.
Offense, defense, MVP. Cam was MVP. Rivera was coach of the year. We had a bunch of defensive studs.
Did one of your defensive studs win Defensive Player of the Year ever or no?
Luke Kuechly, I think. I'm almost sure Luke did. If not, he was always in the finalist, right? And so you looked around and you're like, how can this not be success for years to come? Built our way over the course of 3 seasons to get to a Super Bowl, got there and lost, right? Cemented my title as second place Brad. And everybody thought, I went to free agency the next year to go play for Jacksonville, but most of the team was back the next year. Everybody thought it's just going to roll right on. That Carolina Panther team, I think they snuck into the playoffs as a wild card, and then they were never the same. They were never the same. And when I would ask guys, they were clearly struggling, even as I was watching from afar, playing in Jacksonville. I said, guys, what's going on? They didn't really have any answers. The magic, the juice, the energy, the vibes and momentum that team harnessed, it was gone. It can come and go just like that. And I think that's the most frustrating time when you look around your locker room and said, we got everything we need. We have the ingredients of a Super Bowl winning and appearing team, but you just don't know why you can't turn it on. I think about that with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, look at that team. A nasty number 1 defense, an MVP quarterback, an experienced coach, just like healthy and talented across the board. And you look at them and it's just like they just don't have the magic when it matters most. It gives me a little bit of concern and pause about the Green Bay Packers just getting too far ahead of yourselves. And I hope that it doesn't make the pain of last Sunday even worse.
And see, this is why I took the loss to the San Francisco 49ers so hard. I took that loss so hard because of the fact that nothing is guaranteed in the National Football League. Brad is a walking proof of the fact that you go from being a team that you guys went 15-1 during the regular season.
Correct.
15-1 during the regular season. Cam Newton, Superman, MVP. You talked about the guys that they had on defense. They had a great punter in Brad Nortman. You would think that Carolina Panthers team with the coach that they had was going to be a team that was going to get back to the Super Bowl. Little did Cam know, little did you know when you walked off the field of the Super Bowl that Carolina football team would not only just not get back to a Super Bowl, they wouldn't even get close to getting back to another Super Bowl. I don't even believe they've been to an NFC championship game since that. So though you may think the window may be wide open, you may not see the Detroit Lions in this game again in years. And that's why as a Packers fan, I was so disappointed in the fact that we not only were up in that game, I felt like we outplayed the 49ers. We were right there. You have to take advantage of every opportunity when it presents itself. And the Packers having an opportunity to upset the San Francisco 49ers on the road, potentially go to Detroit, a place that you won before, to go to the Super Bowl. You do not know what the future holds, and you have to capitalize and have to take advantage. So am I concerned for the Packers in the future? Absolutely. I may love what this team could be, but Brad, they've proven this year that they're better than what everybody thought they were, and that at the end of the season they were a really good football team, but they have not proven that they're a championship football caliber team yet.
Well, and that's the big takeaway from the year, is that they deserve to be in that conversation of short list of teams that can make some noise, maybe even make it to a Super Bowl, maybe even win a Super Bowl. But there's a bunch of other teams in that situation. As I see these playoffs unfold, and I remember from my days of playing in playoff games and just trying to claw and scrap your way to the playoffs, the reminder is you can go a full season of success. I mean, a full season of success and make a couple mistakes in the playoffs. And just like that, it's over. It happened just that quick. And that's why I said going into some of these games for the Packer games, whether it be the Cowboys or the 49ers, you basically need to play almost perfect games. It's mistakes that kill you, and you see that with the Ravens, you see that with the Lions, and I compared it a couple weeks ago to like climbing Mount Everest. Right? So many people can make the first couple base camps, but it's the final base camps that very few people can make. And just because you made the third last one doesn't make the final two any easier. And as you're walking, you're walking with your Sherpa, and you're trying to like get to the right place. It's like, okay, if you step a foot to the left, you're going to fall off the mountain. If you step a foot to the right, you're going to fall off the mountain. You got to walk this perfectly in order to get there. That's exactly what it feels like the road to the Super Bowl is, that you have to walk the playoffs perfectly. And that's really hard to do.
I know. I may not be in the situation, but watching my team try to walk to the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and only being able to walk there 3 times in the last since 1995, it's been a treacherous, terrible walk. I'm just going to tell you this right now. Yeah, we made it there 3 times, but it's been a terrible walk. 800-990-3776. Lamar and the Lions had devastating losses yesterday, which makes us believe, should we be as excited? Is there a little fear that the Green Bay Packers road that we think to the Super Bowl ain't that easy? 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. And Lewis on the north side, Lewis always knows. He believes the Packers window is wide open. Lewis, welcome to KBN.
What's up, Kyle? Calm down, buddy, man. Take a deep breath, man. It's like the NFL, the last 10 years, what they've instituted is called parity, my friend. You understand? And with that being said, if you have an elite quarterback, which you yourself told me Jordan Love was elite. I didn't believe you, and I believe now.
All right, now.
You have to okay, so with an elite quarterback, that's why they have the third best odds to go to the Super Bowl next year. Lamar, he's great, talented. I think it's between the buddy's ears. I don't think he's a smart guy, if you know what I mean. The same thing with Cam Newton. Great talent. He wasn't really that smart. And, you have to have smarts to play the quarterback in the NFL. And I think Jordan Love is smart enough. We have a good coaching staff. And like I said, the window is wide open, buddy. Would you take Jordan Love over Brock Purdy next year? Yes, you would. You would take Jordan Love, right?
Lewis, doesn't the parity of the NFL, though, almost create an argument where that makes it hard? And maybe Jordan Love can get there close, but it makes it really hard to repeat success in the NFL, doesn't it?
Right. You have a point, but when you have elite, talent at the quarterback level, and like I said earlier, Kyle made me believe that. I think Jordan Love, he's one of the top tier quarterbacks. When you have that, then it makes the parity, it goes in your favor a little bit. And I just think going forward, that's what the Packers got.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lewis, for joining us here. Yeah, I mean,
thanks, Lewis.
I really believe in Jordan Love, but when I look at it here, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is just so good. If Jordan Love can be Pat Mahomes, that's great. A lot of great NFL quarterbacks don't get it over the top. I mean, you're talking about Josh Allen. He hasn't been there yet. Joe Burrow's only been there one time. Lamar Jackson hasn't quite been there yet. Aaron Rodgers has only gone once. And so just because you have an elite quarterback, you need to have an elite quarterback with a great roster built around them. When Tom Brady went with the Buccaneers, that was an elite roster around him. And then they added an elite quarterback that got them over the top. Are the Packers going to have all the pieces in order to get them over the top? Only time will tell. But any Packer fan saying that they think the Packers for sure will be in the Super Bowl next year and that this doesn't scare them whatsoever is not being honest with themselves.
Well, and as we're learning from these playoff games and just from history, having an elite quarterback is critical and foundational. Like, you cannot go and win in a Super Bowl, particularly in today's NFL, if you don't have an elite quarterback. But unfortunately, it just doesn't stop there. You have to have an elite GM. You have to figure out how to have an elite coaching staff, both offensive and defensively. And you have to, so, I mean, look at even what the Kansas City Chiefs are able to do. You're able to contain the MVP of the league. Like, can the Packers find a defensive coordinator and defensive staff that can do that? Can these young guys turn into all-pro guys? It's a critical first step that you need to have an elite quarterback, but so much more needs to happen. And some of those other things, I'm not so sure that it's for sure going to happen. I think the young playmakers are there, but like, what about the defensive side of the ball? What about scheming? There's a lot that's yet to be proven, and the Packers have a shot, which is more than like 15 or 20 teams can say. But you think about Josh Allen, you think about Lamar, you think about Joe Burrow.
You think about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I'm thinking about. It's Aaron Rodgers. I know firsthand.
It's hard. It is so hard. And even with my year in Jacksonville in 2017, man, a team that comes out of nowhere where, bang, we're beating the Steelers on the road. We're beating the Bills. We should have beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Everybody thought, here's the beginning. Here we go. We're definitely going to get it. The Jags never even sniffed playoff until Trevor Lawrence showed up last year. So it's never easy. Teams rise quicker than you think, and they fall quicker than you think. I don't think Packers are going to have a dramatic fall. Just a reminder of how hard it actually is.
800-990-3776. After watching Lamar Jackson again fail to get to a Super Bowl, watching the Lions have a huge lead at halftime and let that lead slip out of their fingertips and the 49ers going to the Super Bowl, does this make you worrisome that the Green Bay Packers may not ever get over that hump? 800-990-3776. That's the ESPN Wisconsin Talking text line. Also, join and watch us on YouTube. Go to YouTube right now, type in ESPN Milwaukee, click on our show. Packers should be going to the Super Bowl, KBN. You can watch Brad and I do our thing. Also, you can go to ESPN Madison, do the exact same thing. Baby Brust has arrived, so Ben is out this week. Congratulations to Ben Brust. But on the other side, we're going to continue the conversation talking about the Packers. Do you think the Packers can get over the hump? Do the losses from yesterday concern you? 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin Talking text line, and this is KBN.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN.
Student Athlete Support Fund was something I was looking at. I'm ultimately likely going to give to this College of Letters. Oh, jeez. I was in life.
Long week.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Offensive rebound, Ligon passes to Dykstra. He's blocked by Garlock. And here we go, showtime! Marquise Walker throws it down emphatically with two hands in transition.
Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania is also brought to you by Canopy Wealth Management, Pasquale's Cantina, UW Credit Union, Stoughton Trailers, the GRB Academy, and Stoughton Health. UW Credit Union presents the Prep Mania Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Dennis Semrau with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
Our ESPN Madison UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Kira Jones. Welcome.
Hey.
When was the first time you picked up a basketball?
I think I was like 6, and then like about 8th grade, I started taking it serious, falling in love with it, going to the gym with my brothers.
Now you want to go on and play in college. How's recruiting? You getting some interest?
Yeah, I'm getting recruited. I got my first D2 offer a couple of days ago. I'm happy about that.
And what do you want to study in college?
Kinesiology. I want to be a physical trainer or a coach.
Coach, now you do some work and MSCR.
I like working with MSCR because I love working with kids. I think it's because I only have one nephew, so I was rarely around kids and I'm the baby.
Well, East Side Pride, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being a PERG older, what does that mean to you?
Being a leader, East presents that, wanting more leaders. A lot of leaders came out of the school.
Life has its moments, times to remember and share. Make the most of those special occasions by visiting Goodman's Jewelers at 220 State Street. John Hayes from Goodman's Jewelers. We're here to help you make that perfect selection for your memorable moment. When you think of diamonds, you hear about color, cut, clarity, and carat weight. We can help you understand that. but we're equally concerned with earning your trust with the quality of our selection and our service. Goodman'sJewelers.com, in the heart of downtown Madison. Truly a destination worth reaching.
Hey, Drew Scott here, and I'm Jonathan Scott, reminding you that life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance. They can help you get just the right protection at just the right price and help you save when you bundle home and auto. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It'll be just right for you. We love a custom build. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The NBA season is going strong, and there's no easier way to get in on the action than with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Fantasy sports, real money. The way to play is simple. Pick between 2 to 5 players, select higher or lower on player stats, and if the picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. Underdog Fantasy is legal in Wisconsin and a ton of fun to play along as you're watching the Bucks play. It has become a big part of my game watching routine, and now I have the ability to win some real money while rooting for my favorite players. You can see how easy it is to play, and getting started is even easier. Go to Underdog Fantasy's easy-to-use mobile app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code KBN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, you get a special pick of higher than 0.5 total yards to use on your first pick'em entry. That's promo code KBN. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hey, it's Bobby Portis, and I love playing basketball in Milwaukee. When I drive down the lane, I move fast and make sudden moves to drive to the hoop and score. But when I'm behind the wheel in the driving lane, I control my drive. I don't speed or make sudden movements. Speeding and reckless driving are the leading causes of traffic injuries and deaths in Wisconsin. Do what I do. Control your drive. Don't speed. Don't be reckless. Zero in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Wisconsin DOT.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. And I'm telling you, Brad, I feel good about the Packers' future like I do. I don't want people to get it misconstrued that I am still not a loyal Packer fan. I feel because Ben tarnished my name and dragged me, slander, libel, and he may be seeing me in court. I am a big Packer backer, and I'm still a believer in the Green Bay Packers. I'm confident in the future, but also there is a slight hesitation due to the past history of my Green Bay Packers of not being able to get over the hump. Talking to Brian Bulaga last week was just taking me down memory lane of so many opportunities that were missed for the Green Bay Packers, and that's why I feel like this, what the Lions and what you talked about with the Carolina Panthers that you went through with the Jaguars and the Panthers, what the Baltimore Ravens are going through, what the Chargers have gone through. I mean, the Chargers were a team that was up 27-0 at halftime, and poof, they couldn't even make the playoffs the following year. This stuff can slip out of your fingertips so quickly.
It really can, and there's a reason why the phrase any given Sunday is a thing, because any NFL team on any given regular season week, let alone playoffs, feels like they can win. They have the talent to do so. I mean, these are dudes. They get paid to play football for a reason, and any team can beat any other team in the regular season or the playoffs. So it doesn't matter if you're a favorite. It doesn't matter if you're an underdog. Whatever it is, when it comes to the NFL playoffs particularly, it is just such a hard gauntlet to win multiple games in a row against good teams and go to the Super Bowl. And we don't have to look at that much history to see, man, these were great players. These were great quarterbacks. These were great coaches. And they've only been to one. They haven't been to any. And it doesn't feel like they were any closer. I mean, we should be thankful that the Packers aren't in the AFC. I'm just going to say that because all those great quarterbacks and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, they have a solid clamp on the AFC right now. But you're exactly right. The fact that the Packers are even in this conversation, that we're talking about Super Bowl, we're talking about playoffs, they clearly have talent, and the Packer fans, we are optimistic. You should be excited for the future, but it's just one of those things that it is a path filled with heartbreak that we know all too well.
That's why next year is so big. We could be the Philadelphia Eagles, where the Philadelphia Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year, right? They were this close, and they completely fell apart this year after the first 10 games of the season. All of a sudden, they look like they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs.
And we're going to talk about this even more as this team grows and as next season starts. The dynamics change a lot when you become hunter versus hunted. I mean, the Green Bay Packers, you could easily take teams off guard. You could easily take them lightly. Maybe not do just the little extra film study or the little extra body preparation because you're like, the Packers, these young guys, we're going to be just fine. They will be able to take nobody by surprise next year. And even with your own psyche, like the things that you do in order to claw and scratch your way to the top, it becomes harder to do those things, those uncomfortable things, when you're already sitting at the top. So Lewis in the north side, he said parity. Parity is true in the NFL for sure. It's one of those reasons why it's hard to even stay on top. It's one thing to get there, hard to stay there. So it's going to be a challenge for this young Packer team.
800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin Talking Text line. You can join in on the conversation talking about your confidence, your level of confidence in the Green Bay Packers not falling to the same trap that the Lions fell to this year, or the Baltimore Ravens, or the Philadelphia Eagles, so many teams before them, when you could not get to the championship game. Chef Ed in Milwaukee. Chef Ed, what's happening? What's your thoughts and comments on this?
How's it going, guys?
What's happening?
The phrase defense wins championships. It's all going to matter of, can we get a decent defensive coordinator in there, to really put the play? We have the talent on defense. I think they just got to be in the right position. But I wanted Brad's opinion on. I want to talk about the Niners and the Lions. Dan Campbell. I know it's been thrown out there. The Lions got a 24-7 lead at half. They hold the Niners to a field goal. They go down during field goal range. You have to go up by 3 scores. You can go up by 3 scores, and momentum is so key. When they stopped them on that 4th down, they woke a sleeping giant up. The crowd got back into it. The team got into it, and it was downhill after that. They needed to kick that field goal and go up by 3 scores. What do you think, Brad?
Chef Ed, I'm on your side on this one. It's hard because Dan Campbell's challenge 3 years ago was, how can I take this non-aggressive, hapless, hopeless franchise and turn them into a bunch of dogs? You know how you do that? You give them the Dan Campbell mentality, which is like, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go after it. We're going to be biting kneecaps, all the things that you want to instill. In order to do that, you have to be a little bit over the top. So Dan Campbell has been known for, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go for it on 4th down. We're going to err on the side of physicality. That resulted in this team being a capable team, and they were physical. The Packers know that all too well from when they play in them week 3. The Packers got their revenge on Thanksgiving, of course.
So did.
But Dan Campbell's DNA, it was such a challenge to get this Detroit Lions team to playing this physical and this aggressive that in the moment where he probably shouldn't have been aggressive and taking the risks and taking the gambles, he just went ahead with whatever he thought that it was. So it was vital for it to become ingrained in this team's DNA, but you have to know when to pull that off. You have to know when you'd be a game-type decision maker. And that was an instance where to go up 3 scores, and to be able to put more points on the board, not allow momentum to swing in the other direction. It's one thing Dan Campbell's going to have to figure out in his coaching journey. And look, Matt LaFleur, he's experienced those, right?
He sure has.
Questionable playoff moves, whether to go for it or kick the field goal. A lot of times, that's why you see a lot of the same coaches over and over. You got Kyle Shanahan, you got Andy Reid. You learn these things in the playoffs. You figure out how to make the right decisions. I didn't feel like it was the right decision for Dan Campbell to do it, but I can't fault him because that's what he said. He's like, this is what we're going to do no matter what. If that's how you want to live and die, that's one way to approach it. But I think the next evolution of coach for him, just like Matt LaFleur has taken those steps, is being able to look at something objectively and say, I know this is who we are, but this is the right call in this moment.
I hope that the Packers' Matt LaFleur continues to be the type of play caller he was. After he said, let it rip, after he says these kids can't be kids anymore, that's the team that makes me feel more confident that we're not going to fall into the same trap so many teams that actually get to a certain point. The Atlanta Falcons that beat the Green Bay Packers back in, I believe, the 2016-2017 season, that team ain't been there since. And so how do the Packers sustain the success? How do the Packers get over the hump? A, you don't have to worry about playing elite quarterbacks like you do in the AFC. And then B, you stay putting the pedal to the metal for this offense and this team and putting that identity in your organization so they understand and know this is the way that we play. I don't fault Dan Campbell whatsoever, and I hope Matt LaFleur puts the pedal to the metal and continues doing that for the Green Bay Packers.
As a fan, if I was a Lions fan, I would hardly be able to get mad at Dan Campbell. I'd just be like, look, I get it. Like, this
what
is the
you got
mentality.
You there.
Exactly. And Chef Bad made a really good point, though, about the missing piece that's going to keep this Green Bay Packer team from knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. That's a great defense. This next hire for Matt LaFleur, and I can't wait to get Jason Wilde's thought on this later in the show in hour 2. How is that developing? This is going to be the biggest decision, and it's going to be defining for Matt LaFleur's time in Green Bay. You can't miss on coordinators time after time, whether it be special teams or defense. He's got the offense on lock, right? No worries about Matt LaFleur on offense. But on defense, man, this is going to be a defining moment because, as we just said, man, this team's window, it can open and close quickly. So while this team is young, while they have a cap favorable situation, let's get a D coordinator in there that can scheme up against the best of them in the NFL.
800-990-3776. I hope they find somebody that can definitely scheme up. But, Brad, on the other side, I want to talk a little bit more about this weekend, right? Because this weekend was focused on 2 great games that they had for the NFC and AFC championship. I was kind of not watching those games. I dabbled a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit later why I dabbled in some of them games. But the sting still hurts. But what I want to know on the other side is, does it hurt as much or does it give you a little bit of hope? We'll talk about that more. You're listening to KBN. To join in on the conversation, hit us up at 800-990-3776, or you can join us in KBN Nation's YouTube. Follow us on YouTube, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, also ESPN Madison on YouTube. Brad is right now in the chat, typing it up. I'm about to get in the chat, type it up, and respond to everybody. But keep it locked. You're listening to KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
DKB. They get all my love, all my energy, and all my time. I'll be danged if GKB and Craig not going to allow me to take my half-an-hour boo-boo. If I need to do that, they need to allow me to do that.
That's your whole lunch break.
I don't even take a lunch break. I work during lunch.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Ben Brust here for Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. It's been over 4.5 years I've worked with Zimbrick European, and it's time for you to stop on by and check out all the inventory they have to offer. You can also go to ZimbrickEuropean.com for certified pre-owns, Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, electric vehicles. They literally have it all for you. It's your one-stop shop. Don't forget about Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans as well. Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Check it out. You will enjoy it.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin's energy-efficient windows keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
2 seconds left on the clock, third field goal range, and it looks like he's going to go with a 5-iron. No, wait. The quarterback is skating back on the ice. He's talking with his caddy. They're pulling the goalie. He skates off the fairway as the kicker lines up his putt. It's a breakaway! They've bundled their home and auto insurance with Progressive. Touchdown savings, birdie goal!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Take your new year to the next level with live experiences from Vivid Seats. Score tickets for all basketball, hockey, and pro football games. Plus, with a 100% buyer guarantee, Vivid Seats always has your back. See every buzzer beater, touchdown, and shootout live and in person with great deals on great seats. Plus, with Vivid Seats rewards, you can earn with every purchase, like surprise seat upgrades, birthday discounts, free tickets, and more. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Greg Scalzo here for Buck and Honeys. Congratulations to the perennial Best of Madison Award winner by the folks at Madison Magazine. Meet me at Buck and Honeys to celebrate Wisconsin hospitality. Whether you're enjoying the view on the Yahara River in Monona, exploring Wanakee, visiting the OG in Sun Prairie, or checking out the new location in Mount Horeb, you can enjoy the Buck and Honeys experience in a neighborhood near you. Serving lunch and dinner 7 days a week with brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you at Buck and Honeys.
Soxbury Healthcare is here to help. To help with your shoulder pain,
your knee injury, that hip that bothers you,
with your foot or ankle pain.
We focus on quality. We focus on results. And take time to listen.
So that your care is the best care. For you.
You. You. You.
For you. We're here for you.
Sauk Prairie Healthcare Orthopedics. Listening, healing, caring. It's in our nature.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offer the Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It's real party music right here.
Feels good.
Yeah, it does.
Good for the vibes.
I wish I could party like this.
You do?
I mean, I wish, but I have nothing to party for. I'm not like,
That's true.
I'm not gonna lie. Legitimately, the reason why I started watching the games, of course, because of Underdog Fantasy, but then on top of that, I was so bored on Saturday. It was the first time I had nothing to do, like whatsoever. It was a lazy day for me, and my girlfriend went to. She hung out with her friend, so by like 7 o'clock, I dropped her off at 6 o'clock. So like after 6, I went home and did nothing. I'm like, woof, I have nothing to do here. And I was like, what if I run into the same issue tomorrow on Sunday? And that's why I dabbled in some of the games.
You know what? There's always a shock for me ending the NFL season. That first weekend. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot to be excited about. We got Wisconsin basketball, Marquette basketball. We got the Masters. You got Brewers, Bucks. I mean, there's so much to be excited about. But there's like a recalibration for me when the season's over. Like I'm Sunday afternoon expecting to turn on the NFL game, and I got to like watch college basketball. Like it's cool. I love college basketball, but I need to like recalibrate my brain for these weekends now.
Yeah, I just need to recalibrate my soul from not being emotional. I realize I'm an emotional wreck. I really am. I'm a roller coaster. I realize I'm not normal with the fact that I feel this down about the Packers and the Packers losing football games over and over and over in January. It's just my Januaries are always ruined because of Green Bay Packers.
Kyle, they say that, true strength is allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And so maybe you just harbor like true strength to like allow yourself to be this opened up to the Packers' fate and allowing it to, guide your emotions here and there. So maybe it's true strength.
Yeah, or maybe I'm childish. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
Who knows?
It has nothing in between. It has to be one of those.
There's nothing in life more important than sports, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so here's my thing. I'm always looking for silver linings, right? Like, where can I find a silver lining of happiness? Where can I be proud of this Green Bay Packers team? And I've talked about it before in numerous, links about it was a good season to me. I really thought it was a winning season. It was house money until it wasn't house money and became real serious. Stuff got serious really quickly. But, I mean, after this weekend and watching these games, do you feel like better, worse, or the same after the Packers lost against the 49ers? Because I think there's something there where Packers fans, and now you are over a week removed from that devastating loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I want to know, engage the temperature of KBN Nation. Do you feel a little bit better after watching the 49ers and Chiefs and Baltimore and the Lions play yesterday?
Yeah, I'm curious what KBN Nation has to say because it's ironic. I flipped. Right after that 49ers game, I felt like okay. Not in no way was I happy that the Packers lost, but I felt like, wow, this team is more capable of more than I had totally anticipated to take that team 3/4 of the way and just utterly dominate. And yes, we can look back at the several plays that was the deciding factor. But I was like, this team is knocking on the doorstep. Like, you cannot walk away not feeling good, not optimistic. Give it a week, though, And I'm watching this 49er and Dallas game, or 49er and Lions game. And I was like, I feel like the Packers could beat these teams. I really do. And then that made me feel like Sunday night and Monday morning made me feel worse.
You're going to make me mad again.
I know. I'm not trying to go there, Kyle, because you're the optimistic one. I need your optimism on this one, because I was thinking to myself, look, this team has come so far, and they're playing such good football. After watching the Lions and the 49ers, those were not complete, perfect football teams, right? They had their flaws, they had their weaknesses. And the way the Packers were playing, I just wonder a couple of those other plays. I would have loved to have seen this young team in this spotlight, because we've talked about how each round of the playoffs, the lights get brighter, the tensions get higher, the stage is greater. It's quicker, it's faster, it's more aggressive. I felt like on each additional platform, this team rose to the occasion, whether it be Thanksgiving, whether it be Sunday Night Football, whether it be must-win games down the stretch into the playoffs. Felt like they were growing right before our very eyes. I think they would have risen to this occasion of the NFC playoff game on the road. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Let's go to Detroit. Been there, done that. I think this team would have had a really good chance to win, and now that would have been a compelling story. This team in the Super Bowl, now again, I said last week and I still contend, still a pretty far way to go. Each base camp along the way becomes more and more challenging. But man, I feel like the Packers could have beaten the Lions after just the product I saw on the field. It wouldn't have been a for sure thing, but I felt actually a little bit worse, because I was like, the Lions weren't better than the Packers, at least not significantly, not with a big margin of error that the Lions wouldn't be able to lose a game and the Packers would win. So yeah. I felt a little bit worse. I'm not going to lie.
See, here's my thing. I'm salty. I'm a hater. Like, I admit to who I am. I am a person that does not like to see people get things that I want. And here's the thing that we all talk about. Misery needs company. And boy, oh boy, do I feel company today with Detroit Lions fans and Baltimore Ravens fans. I love the fact that they get to live in my misery. Our content director, Brian D., he was all excited about this football season before they played the Chiefs. He's a Bills fan. Before they played the Chiefs, he was like, I feel good. I feel confident. Like, the Chiefs haven't been that great this year. And guess what happened last week? He lost right there with me, and I feel good because we combined together over the fact that both our teams did not win a football game 2 weeks ago, and now we have more fan bases to join me. I got family who lives in Michigan. During the game, they're texting, "Go Lions! Woo Lions! All this." My mama texting, "Go Lions!" I was like, "Hey, stop all that. We Packers fans. We don't do that. We don't do that. We cheering for the Packers. If the Packers ain't playing, we ain't cheering for them." But they got real silent during the game. That's how I knew the Lions were in trouble. I got less text messages. I'm like, what's going on here? This was popping just about an hour ago. And so for me, after seeing those games, again, I dabbled just a little bit, and after for sure seeing the results of the games, I was excited. I was excited because I understand that the Green Bay Packers, this football team that went 9-8, this football team that was 2-5 during the year, this football team that had the youngest receiving corps in the NFL, the youngest roster in the NFL to make the playoffs since the 1970s, a first-year starter in Jordan Love, a team that had to grow up and figure it out. This football team right here, they played against the two teams in the Super Bowl, and guess what? They beat one and outplayed the other. That right there made me feel better about this team and overall about how the season ended. It was ugly, and I'll never be happy with a loss. Ever will I be happy with a loss. But knowing that your football team, when they have not, to me, reached their potential, even gotten close to reaching what they can be, with Jordan Love year 5, but second year as a starter. Jaden Reed coming back, actually having some time under his belt. Both those tight ends getting healthy next year and playing in the season. Us getting a new defensive coordinator, having a new scheme, new life in this defense. I felt good. I did. I felt good whatsoever. It wasn't the fact that other people were sad right there with me, and I can pass my sadness off. It was the fact that my football team went mano-a-mano, toe-to-toe with the two teams in the Super Bowl, where if they played in the Super Bowl this coming or 2 weeks from now, if the Packers played in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, I wouldn't think it was a blowout. I would believe that my team could compete. Because
doesn't that hurt, though?
No, it hurts. But when I think about the future, and I know it's so hard, we don't know what the future can happen. But I'm going to be optimistic because 800-990-3776. That's the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. You can join in as well. Dave from Aaron, he said, Kyle, you need to start manifesting 8 rings, baby. I'm gonna shift my mindset to manifesting as many rings as possible, because that's what can happen. If your football team this year, when they're building, they're trying to figure it out, can beat the team, the Kansas City Chiefs, that might win the Super Bowl this year. When your team can go to San Francisco and outplay San Francisco, and if it wasn't for Anderson Carlson or whatever his name is, if it wasn't for the kicker, your team might have been playing yesterday. that should give you all the confidence in the world to actually feel better about your loss. You know that your team can compete with the best of them, and they're only just pups and trying to figure out how to be the best of them.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think I'm going to feel really good in, like, August. When this team, it's like you start prognosticating for 2024, and you start to think who the Packers' main rival is going to be, and you start thinking about it. I think I'll feel good then because I'm going to look back to January of 2024 and say this team can contend. I feel good about what's about to happen. But right now, I'm going to be honest. I would have preferred the Packers have gotten blown out last Saturday night as opposed to losing in a close game. Now, hold on.
That's nonsense.
Not because
that is nonsense. That means you don't belong.
No,
look at the odds.
No, hear me out.
Yes,
thank
you, Chris.
Hear me out now. It's not because I want to see the Packers lose. It's just the opposite. But if they would have got blown out and they looked like they're not ready yet, I would have felt like two things. One, this team hit its ceiling. They maximized their talent. They put everything on the field that you couldn't ask any more of them, right? So I would have felt like job complete, feel good about it, but there just needs more work to be done. And there is no part of me thinking or wishing what could have been because you can't even go there. It's like, well, we can't go to what if they would have played in the NFC Championship game? What if they would have played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Because if you get blown out, it just shows you're not ready for the moment. I don't think it would have taken away from optimism going forward. The fact that they had that game won, they should have won that game. There'll always be a little like pit in me. There'll always be a little bad taste in my mouth thinking like their ceiling was above what they actually put on the field.
You're crazy.
And what the results were.
I can't believe
the ceilings were above
I
it.
can't believe the former NFL player, longtime NFL player, would sit here and tell me he would prefer to get blown out in a game just because you think, oh, there's more for the ceiling. Wouldn't you prefer to know, wow, we were that close? Let me go ahead and be motivated to know that we're this close.
No.
We're not that far off.
It's more painful.
At week 7 of the season, we thought we were the Pacific Ocean away from competing for championships. Little did we know, we were just a little small trip across Lake Michigan, had we won, a small trip across Lake Michigan of going to the Super Bowl. Like that's what it was. The gap became so small. And so aren't you more motivated knowing that you're that close? We just need to work a little bit harder, put in that extra rep, do that extra thing, to study that extra time, and your team can hopefully get over the hump with that.
Hear me out. I'm not saying that I would want that for the full time. The longer that this, the gap between this game and next season goes, the more I'm thankful that the Packers played. They were competitive. They were the rightful winner of that game, if not for a few plays. That will give me a lot of optimism and confidence going forward. I would prefer they do that. But for me, in this moment, I would have preferred they just get blown out because I wouldn't be sitting here in pain and in misery and playing the hypothetical game. Listen, we're playing the hypothetical game. That's a painful game to play. I don't like playing that. I would have rather just been like, okay, they maxed themselves out. They did as best as they could. We move forward.
Absolutely. We're going to have to talk more about this, but what I need to know is this. You talk about maxing yourself out. You know what you can never max out on?
That's just the delicious taste of carbless,
so
isn't it?
It's the delicious taste.
I mean, whenever I'm kicking back, whenever I'm relaxing, I was in Jacksonville this weekend, hanging out with all my buddies from Florida, and I just couldn't stop talking about carbless. Just wanting one in my hand, whether I'm relaxing, hanging out with my buds, or it's just Lexi and I home alone. We're just watching a game or watching a movie. Whenever I feel like indulging myself with an alcoholic cocktail, I always turn to carbless. It's because carbless has everything I want. It has everything that I want from a guilt-free factor. You guys know me. I mean, I'm working out. I'm trying to eat healthy. The last thing I want to do is get to the night and then just totally undo everything I did from the day. But that's not with carbless. Carbless has 0 carbs, just like the name says, but also 0 sugar, gluten-free, 100 calories a can, and somehow, I still don't know how they do it, less carbonation. Just the right amount of carbonation to be like, ooh, this is refreshing. But not so much that you drink with all these other drinks and you just feel that bloat. You feel that heavy stomach. They have totally threaded that needle. Carbless is my favorite. I'm kind of getting into the classic cocktails right now. I was loving the pineapple, the lemon lime, the black cherry. But right now, I just picked up the classic cocktails, the Paloma, the strawberry margarita, Moscow Mule, and Mojito. Those are tasting real, real good. And, whether it be how amazing I feel after drinking them with no guilt or their incredible flavor, you should try carbless for yourself. And you have your carbless moment of being like, okay, I get what Brad is talking about. This is just built differently. So when you're looking for an alcoholic beverage to enjoy and you're looking for a premium cocktail, check out Carbless. Figure out why Liss is more and find them online and at retailers near you.
800-990-3776. After watching Sunday's game, do you feel better, worse, or the same about the Packers' ending of their season? You can join in on that poll. That poll is on our ESPN Milwaukee YouTube. Go ahead and go to YouTube, type in ESPN Milwaukee, and watch us live. Join in on that poll, or 800-990-3776. Hit us up on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Do you feel worse like Brad does, or do you feel better like I do? Because misery loves company, and you know what? I don't think I'll be in misery for much longer. We want to hear from you. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
When I'm, again, doing the Pack Arena, and as a shareholder, when I'm sizing up my ring, I'm sizing up my ring
Pack Arena right now.
1 pack of 2 pack of 3 pack Arena.
Hey.
What's the rest of the words? Jordan Love to Christian Watson. Nay, that's a touchdown.
That on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. The Wisconsin Badgers football team has hired former USC defensive coordinator Alex Grinch as their new safeties coach. Grinch replaces Colin Hitchler, who left to become an assistant coach at Alabama after 1 season in Madison. Grinch is a 4-time nominee for the Broyles Award given to the nation's top assistant coach and was a semifinalist in 2017 and 2019. Grinch has also coached at the University of Missouri, the University of Wyoming, and the University of New Hampshire, following his playing days as a defensive back at Mount Union College. Wisconsin plays USC in Week 5 of the upcoming season.
Badger Minutes on ESPN Wisconsin are brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule an appointment online today at PellaWI.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Cozy up your home with fresh cabinets from SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. SprayNet knows that the kitchen is the heart of your home. Let them help you fall in love with it again. Quicker and more affordable than replacing your cabinets, SprayNet can have your kitchen cabinets looking like the day you first saw them. Their exclusive painting technology and technique will have your kitchen transformed in less than a week. Schedule an appointment today with Dale, the owner of SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. Go to spraynet.com.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Your nationally ranked Wisconsin men's basketball team is gearing up to face Big Ten opponents in Madison, and we need you to help bring the energy to the Kohl Center. Secure your tickets now, as inventory is limited. For more information and to purchase single-game tickets, visit uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS. That's uwbadgers.com or call 1-800-GO-BADGERS.
Are you looking for a fast-paced job in a fun and exciting work environment? Look no further than Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison. We offer a wide range of job and shift availability in both part-time and full-time positions. Competitive wages and great benefits await you at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison. Visit us in person or check out our website to see all of our job openings. Make work fun and apply for a job at Madison's only casino.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because our home policies help protect your dreams and come with peace of mind. Save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
products not available in every state. Discounts may not apply to all coverages on an auto or home policy. Discounts do not apply to life insurance policies. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
This is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Kyle Wallace. He's Brad Nortman. Ben Brust not here, or a.k.a. the dictator as some people call him. Baby Brust has arrived, so no Ben, as we have added to the KBN Nation family.
I'll just say this, too, and we tweeted out there on our, or X'd it out there, whatever, on our X or Twitter account. You know, Ben sent us a picture of before and after, like, right away, baby born, and, like, leaving the hospital after a couple of days. Man, he looks like he's been through a hurricane. His hair was all nice and coiffed and good smile. Looked like he was plenty of rest. He already looks like he's working on 3 hours of sleep. His hair's a mess. Looks like he hasn't showered in 3 days.
Yeah.
So he's in it right now, boys.
When I saw the picture, I said, you look like you gave birth. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Look, you were the one putting in all the work. All you did was clap, coach, and come on, you got it, baby. You got it.
I feel like that would be Ben's thing, though, is like, oh my gosh, I had such a hard experience assisting with the birth. And It's like, okay, yeah, sorry, Ben. You know, you did have a tough time now.
Knowing Ben after the show, how he acts after the show, I know he was a handful after his girl gave birth, and I know he definitely was the one who probably needed to be babied and probably took a seat down and they got him some water. Like, sir, are you okay?
Are you feeling all right?
Are you good? I am.
A whole full effort.
Whew, that was a lot. Yeah. That was a lot cheering and watching here. North of the border, cheering and watching. But speaking of cheering and watching, we saw something weird over the weekend, Brad. It was something that you were a little fired up and upset because you felt like somebody in the kicker fraternity that you all have got a little bullied. How do you feel about what happened out there with Justin Tucker, Pat Mahomes, and Travis Kelce Swift? Were they bullying Justin Tucker?
Our faithful listeners will know that there's not a whole lot that's going to get me, too off my rocker, too blowing my top. But you know what? I saw a fellow specialist, a fraternity brother in my specialist, cohort, being bullied by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and I will not stand for it. It was flagrant. It was criminal. It was obscene. Ooh. It was unjust. Now, for those who don't know, let me paint a picture, okay? Justin Tucker is warming up, okay? He's the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens. And might I say, I just need to digress for a minute. The Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker particularly, I mean, he's like the best kicker to ever do it.
Hall of Famer.
The ironic thing is, I mean, Justin Tucker is like the Patrick Mahomes of kickers. That's the ironic thing, right? Yeah. He is the Patrick Mahomes of kickers. Kickers, us specialists, you guys know me at this point. We're disciplined. We like our routine. We like the same things in the same place. And it's not like we're just making it up as we go. It's not like you do things for no reason. You implement this routine for a reason. So my man Justin Tucker, kicker for the Ravens, he set the sticks, which is the holder for the footballs, a few footballs in his helmet, right on the hash, right on the goal line. Why the hash? Because that's where you kick field goals from, right? Justin Tucker's warm-up is to kick it a few times, try to hit the crossbar. That's how accurate he's trying to be. Is going to slowly back up. That's the warm-up, right? Well, big bully
Pat Mahomes
and Travis Kelce, they decide that even though they can throw wherever on the field they want, they choose to go right there. They could have moved 5 feet over, it'd be no problem. They choose to go right there. Right next to, Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker's minding his own business. They pick up his sticks. They throw him. They pick up the ball. They throw him. They eventually throw his helmet. It was just completely uncalled for. It was completely fragrant.
Are you sure?
It was.
Are you sure? If you're in my space, this is a football game. We're about to go to battle. We're about to go to war. The last thing I want to do is with my quarterback, my franchise quarterback, the best quarterback in the NFL, a generational talent, and Pat Mahomes having to step over some footballs and a helmet and a little placeholder, whatever it is, because the kicker, granted, he is a great kicker, but the kicker, highest paid kicker in the NFL, probably going to make it $5 million a year, is going to have my $50 million a year quarterback step on something? Stop it. Travis Kelce did what he was supposed to do.
You're all
Clear
players.
the space.
You're all players on the field. There's no distinction. No one is more or less important than anybody else. That's a fact.
Let me tell you this, Brad. If you were a star quarterback in the NFL, the cost of you being in that seat right now would be significantly higher than what it is.
Mahomes needs to respect the specialist, and he needs to respect the Ravens specialist.
No, the Ravens need to respect the fact that Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce are. You just can't put your helmet in your football anywhere. Your routine needs to change.
No,
you just can't do what you want to do.
Why
Justin Tucker was the real bully. He knew he was the one in the way.
Mahomes could have moved over 5 feet. He was casually throwing the ball.
No, he wasn't.
Even
that was his routine.
Totally chill. Totally chill.
Whose side of the field was it?
It was the Chiefs, but
wait a minute. It was the Chiefs side. You don't own the whole space.
Here's why you have to do it. Because there's different wins in different end zones. You have to line up and work in them both. That
should have came out earlier.
That is known amongst all the players that like the specialists can get their area to work because you have to kick on both of them.
Not today.
They need to respect even the Ravens. Kyle, the Ravens changed the game. I became a better holder just watching Sam Cook, the Ravens punter. The way he held
Change came in NFL
on field goals. It was just poetic. The ball flight of Justin Tucker's kick, it brings a tear to my eye when I see it. That's how good it is. But you know what really brings a tear to my eye is because I was watching this all unfold in front of me, right? And I was just feeling for my specialist buddy. Like my man's just trying to do his thing, get his mind and body right. And he's just getting taken advantage of. He's taking what's rightfully his.
You're missing the biggest point.
Is there something about being the home team, too? Like there's some you're the home team, so like the road team has to respect the areas of the home field, basically, and stuff like that. Is there anything to that, Brad? No?
Like a tie will go to the home team, yes,
okay,
because especially
this wasn't no tie.
Oh no, it was more than a tie. I mean,
he infringed on their space.
Well, and Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't even in pads. He was in his sweatshirt.
He was doing his routine.
Pads. You only get like 10 minutes as a kicker. You don't get that much time. It's the least you can do to be able to at least get some space. And as homeboy Chris called, it's his home field. He has his routine. He's not going to break it now. But it really reminded me. Brought a tear to my eye because I remembered being back in this moment too.
What happened with you? You got bullied on the NFL field?
I got transported right back to this moment. I was playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was 2017. We're playing in a preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, playing the Cincinnati Bengals at home, and you don't get that much time as a punter, as a specialist, to warm up, right? You have to take advantage because guys take over the field. It's ridiculous. I need to be able to do what I need to do to get ready. We have to go way earlier than everybody anyway, just to go out there and kick a little bit. And you need the whole field. I can't kick it 20 yards. I need a full half to be at least even just to do pooch punts.
Yeah.
So I go out there. And I go out well before anyone should be out there. Anyone that's out there is like legitimate. I'm in full pads, right? Helmet, pads, pants, the whole thing. Like this is my warm-up. I don't have another opportunity to do it. Any other player that's out there, they're just stretching. Like they're just doing a casual jog, stretch, whatever. You could do that anywhere. You could do that in the end zone. You could do that on the sideline. But guys love the FaceTime, right? They love getting out there on the field. You know who else loves the FaceTime?
Who loves the FaceTime?
Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Okay, yeah.
This man,
yeah.
okay. And
wow.
Pac-Man Jones, okay. For those of you who don't know Pac-Man Jones, he's a dude that's got a little edge to him.
He has a little edge and a little track record too.
A little track record. He's a punt returner too. He's a very reckless, aggressive punt returner. So I legitimately only have half a field to work with, and the whole rest of the other field is blocked. And it's preseason too. There's so many people on the field. There's so many players. So I start warming up. I'm already punting to the area. My man Pac-Man goes to the area where balls are landing. And I looked over to their staff. I was like, he knows I'm punting there, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Well, I just keep punting, right? Because I got to get my hits in. A couple come close to hitting my man Pac-Man. I mean, it came within Kyle, you and I are about 2 yards away from each other. There was a couple of 2-yard shots where they came down like missiles on him. Pac-Man took his headphones off.
Uh-oh.
He started walking toward me, toward the 50, and he is giving me every phrase that you could imagine that would come off as a threat. And I said to myself, oh yeah, you know what? You want to throw hands, Pac-Man? Let's do this.
No, you didn't.
No, I did not. I was like, I apologize.
Stop it. Wait a minute.
Seriously, he came over that way, and the dude was just livid. He was mad. He was angry. And I was just like, I did say at first, I was like, hey, sorry, man, I got to warm up. You saw me warming up. And he just saw red. That's right. I mean, but I was ready. I was ready to throw hands.
Was anybody out there? Did you have any backup teammates? Anybody there? Because Brad, I'm not saying you can't fight. I have no idea what your abilities are. You're a big guy.
No.
But Adam Pac-Man Jones, I feel like he can throw hands for real. And I just wanted to make sure that you at least have some support whenever you're gonna make this decision back in 2017.
Brad's like 6'5", and Pac-Man's like what, 5'9"?
Yeah, but you know, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. And I feel like Pac-Man got a little bit more fight than you do, Brad.
This might shock you guys. I've never been in a physical fight before.
You've never had to throw hands?
Never had to throw hands.
So you've never literally cocked your arm back and hit anybody?
No. I've never received a punch either. A legit punch.
You're like Switzerland. You just stay out of everything.
Yeah. I'm a peacemaker, Kyle. I'm a peacemaker.
So how did you keep peace with Pac-Man?
I had my long snapper and special teams coach there. But they're not saying anything either. I'm going to defend myself. It was ridiculous.
They're going to let you get beat up?
Yeah, and they're like, you're the one punting it. Like, go figure it out. So I did give, like, an apology. I was like, hey, sorry, man, but, like, I got to warm up. And he was just like, there was no consoling him. It took a couple teammates.
Wait a minute. So, it took other people to come in and calm him down?
I mean, he didn't get, like, in my zone where I felt like I had to bow up and, whatever. But he got, like, within 20 yards of me. And they had to be like, hey, man, like, chill. It's not a big deal.
Is this a preseason game?
It's a preseason game. I mean, like, that's why I figured, like, I know some, the track record would tell you there's some unhinged parts of this man. But even the teammates were like, dude, you're making too big of a deal about this. My man's just trying to punt. So I felt specifically bad for my man Justin Tucker.
So basically you had flashbacks at the time you almost got beat up by Pac-Man Jones.
That's right.
Oh, I ain't mad at you.
I lived to tell the tale, though.
You did. And usually I support you in everything. I support you in the Pac-Man Jones thing, but, I'm Team Mahomes and Kelsey Swift on this one.
Don't be that way,
and I
Kyle.
like Justin Tucker, but specialists don't just get to do what they want to do because they want to do it.
That's disrespectful.
800-990-3776. Thank goodness Adam Pac-Man Jones did not beat up our boy Brad, or there will be no N as part of KBN. But when we come back, we'll continue the conversation, and we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs and what the floor is for the Packers, because, again, we're talking a lot about the Lions and what they couldn't do and what Lamar couldn't do, but I'm curious of how we feel about the Packers looking forward to the 2024-2025 season. We'll talk about that and a lot more coming up next year on KBN.
January means it's playoff time for football, where the best teams are doing their best to win. And Metro Ford of Madison wants to help you win this month with great offers like 0% APR financing for 72 months on a 2023 Ford F-150. To really push this deal over the goal line, Metro Ford of Madison will include a tonneau cover, bed liner, and mud flaps. A $1,430 value for free. Don't miss out on this great offer and more at Metro Ford of Madison.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Madison. My name is Riley Yauk, and this is your Sports Center update brought to you by Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania. It's a big game in the Big 8 when Sun Prairie West visits Verona for a boys basketball showdown. Coverage starts Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Tonight, out amidst the snow-capped mountains of Colorado, Doc Rivers makes his much-anticipated head coaching debut for the Milwaukee Bucks as they take on the reigning champion Denver Nuggets. ESPN Bet is the Bucks listed as 3.5-point underdogs in the money line, plus 140 if you want to throw some change on it. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. and pregame coverage begins at 7:30 right here on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN. Then coming back stateside for some college hoops, the AP Top 25 poll released today, and Wisconsin is now officially a top 10 team. They climbed 7 spots all the way up to number 6 in the country for their best ranking since December of 2020. They'll have a couple of opportunities to legitimize that this week. On Thursday, they travel to Nebraska looking for their second win against the Cornhuskers, and on Sunday, they play host to the second-ranked Purdue Boilermakers. But now, time for some more KBN. Let's get back to it.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studios in Madison, this is Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I'm glad my buddy Brad is here with me today. Who knows what Pac-Man would have did to him had the coaches not hold Pac-Man Jones back from attacking Brad back in the 2016-2017 season when he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh, flag on the play.
There is one thing you can say with confidence, and that is I would have taken second place in a fight with Pac-Man.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for sure would happen.
I mean, a lot of people would have, myself included. 800-990-3776. Been a fun show today, really highlighting and talking about the fact that misery loves company, and you know what? I'm happy I have company with the Detroit Lions fans and also with the Baltimore Ravens fans with being heartbroken after their team was unable to win, to finish, to get to where they want to get to. And that has me thinking about next year, Brad. And what do the Packers look at next year? And as Packers fans, I feel like a lot of us have high hopes. This season was house money. We talked about it. We discussed it. We didn't know what it would be. We didn't know what to expect. We were 2-5 at a point, and some people, myself included, were thinking draft pick. I wasn't thinking about Super Bowl, but the Packers ended up closer to the Super Bowl than what they did with the number 1 overall draft pick, which has us really focusing on what can next season be. What's the floor for the Packers? Will the Packers make the playoffs, NFC Championship, Super Bowl? That's what I want to know, Brad. What do you think the floor is for the Green Bay Packers? Do you think, is it or Packer Nation? Do we believe it's going to be just making the playoffs is what we expect? Making the NFC Championship what we expect? Or is the floor getting to the big game and getting to the Super Bowl for this Packers team in 2024?
To me, it's just making the playoffs, which I think is the expectation now going forward for the foreseeable future. And it's my opinion that's plenty of an expectation. When you're talking about a team that is still so young, that has a lot of meat on the bone to go, though, to have any expectation of just like, oh yeah, we now expect to go to the NFC Championship game. We now expect to go to the Super Bowl. Even for the best teams, that only comes when you've had maybe 5 years of sustained success. There's only a few teams I can think of ever in my time being alive where I can think of and say, this team, if they don't make the Super Bowl, if they don't make the conference championship game, it's a failure. And to me, it's the Tom Brady era of the Patriots, and it's the Chiefs Mahomes. Like, if outside of those two teams, I don't think you could look at any team and say, yep, this team, they better get to the conference championship game. They better get to the Super Bowl. So just to have expectations of playoffs alone, that's very hard to do. It's very hard to make the playoffs in the NFL. And that's all you can ask for, because as we can see now, sometimes the seeds don't even matter. How many times were the Packers the number 1 seed and didn't even make it anyway? So
I don't think I know the Packers being a number 1 seed recently have not made it to a Super Bowl. The seed meant nothing.
Right. So at this point, my expectation, my floor for this Green Bay Packer team, just keep making playoffs. And then you push everything else aside. You have a 1-week season at a time. You just keep making the playoffs. Anything more than that, if we start talking about NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, I think you're just getting a little too far ahead of yourself. You're talking about an elite group of company to get there. And until they've proven they can get there, I have a hard time saying, yeah, now that's my expectation.
See, here's the thing, is that you're talking about just making a Super Bowl. You have to understand who I am. I am what?
You're a diehard Packer fan. You're a Packer backer.
I am a Packer fan. A lot of KBN Nation is Packers fans. This is the state of Wisconsin. We love our Green Bay Packers. If you think the floor is making the playoffs, that's a joke. Those are low expectations. Why? We always make the playoffs. Making the playoffs isn't the issue. Making the playoffs isn't what our goal is. Making the playoffs is the expectation. We basically had last 2 seasons ago, so Aaron Rodgers last season, the reason why that was such a downer, it wasn't because it was Aaron Rodgers last season. It was because the team did not live up to the expectations that we set out, which was going to a Super Bowl. It wasn't making the playoffs. That team failed miserably because they not only did not make the playoffs, but they not only not make the Super Bowl, they also did not make the playoffs as well. This year, coming into this season, this was the one time where expectations had changed a little bit. Making the playoffs would have been beautiful for this team. That was something that was different for Green Bay Packers fans. When you have Aaron Rodgers, it truly is Super Bowl or bust. So this season, not having Aaron Rodgers, having Jordan Love for year 1, that's when, heck, it was just figuring out if Jordan Love was the guy was the goal. So making the playoffs for this year, yes, that can be the goal. But moving forward, you already checked that box. You already made the playoffs. So you already have gotten to what the floor is. The floor isn't making the playoffs, Brad. The floor is making it to the NFC Championship game. You were a game away. You were a bad field goal miss away from making it to the NFC Championship game. There is no reason why we should be looking and regressing or setting the standard to be getting it to the divisional round. Hey, we already got to the divisional round, and we did it by beating a 2 seed and almost beating a 1 seed. There is no other answer other than either making it to the Super Bowl or making it to the NFC Championship game. And for me, the floor is making it to the NFC Championship game, because anything less than that next season will be an absolute failure for the Green Bay Packers.
A failure if this team gets to the divisional round. That means either they got the 1 seed or they won a playoff
Brad,
game.
we did that.
A failure.
We did that. Repeating the same thing over.
That's hard, though. That's not an appreciation for how hard that was.
No, repeating what you already did. We already got there, Brad. We did what the Packers do. The Packers have been to divisional round after divisional round after divisional round. We've done that before with a sprinkle in with a couple NFC Championship games. Getting to the divisional round is not the goal. My expectation is you take a step forward. You can't say that this Green Bay Packers team took a step forward at the end of next year if they only made it to the divisional round. Oh, because they got a number 1 seed. Bumps that number 1 seed. I want to go to a Super Bowl. I need to be in NFC Championship games. If we don't get there, we have not met our goal. The point blank period. You can't change my mind.
That's going to be a completely different mindset for this Packer team then, right?
Why would that be a different mindset?
Because you were talking all this year, and we were talking about they're just trying to develop. We're just trying to learn. And oh my gosh, now we're in a playoff game, house money. The expectation to go from that to playing in the NFC Championship game, that's a complete reversal of being hunter versus hunted and what your expectations are on the season. And look, it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers got to the NFC Championship game. I would love to see it. But just making the playoffs is hard enough of a feat they're still a young football team. It's not like Jordan Love is 30 and you got all these guys that have already been all pros. Just making the playoffs would just prove to me that this year wasn't a fluke. It would prove to me that this team's going to be an annual contender. All you can do is be an annual contender and be someone that is in the mix at the end of the season, and then you just hope you're hot at the right time.
What do you mean? That's what we are. Literally, that is the story of my life. Be an annual contender.
But when you're an annual contender enough, you're going to push it over the edge.
No, that's not true. That's not true. It's not. It's not.
Rodgers and Favre push over the edge.
No, that's not. Barely. They barely did. That's not true. Just being an annual contender, it means absolutely nothing. And I and the rest of Packer Nation are living proof that it means absolutely nothing for this team. You should be talking about progress. You should be talking about getting better. The Green Bay Packers, whenever we tried to get better, going back all the way back to 1993, they beat the Detroit Lions in 93, and what did they do? They lost to the Cowboys in the divisional round. And then in 94, they beat the Detroit Lions again in the wild card, and then they lost in the divisional round to the Cowboys again. And you know what? We wanted more. And the next year we made it to the NFC Championship. We lost to the Cowboys again, but eventually we broke through. Getting to the divisional round is not good enough. That is the expectation to get there. We need to get to the NFC Championship in order for this to be progress. The Detroit Lions went from not making the playoffs to the NFC Championship. Don't tell me my Green Bay Packers can't do the same as in getting to the NFC Championship, and they're already a step ahead of the Lions.
So real quick, you're feeling a sense of optimism right now, right, for the Green Bay Packers?
I feel good about next year, yes. I think it's going to be a bright season.
If the Packers do the same thing then, bow out in the divisional round, you will not feel the same sense of optimism.
Nope. I'll be optimistic, but I'll be just more disappointed than anything else.
Gotcha.
Because I feel like that means that we failed at our ultimate goal of getting to a Super Bowl. This is
pressure on this team, Kyle Wallace.
This Super Bowl aspirations, is there not? The Super Bowl window will be officially open after this Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. The Packers Super Bowl window is officially open. It is open.
I agree with that.
And going into next season, the expectations, you look at it, they have the third best odds in the NFC to make it to a Super Bowl. That speaks volumes about what you should do and where you should be at.
It's still a tough road.
800-990-3776. What do you believe the floor for the Green Bay Packers is as a fan? Do you think next season the playoffs is just the floor? Making the playoffs is good enough. Do you think making it to the NFC Championship is good enough? Or do you think it is Super Bowl or bust for the Green Bay Packers? 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Also, join us on YouTube. You can go on ESPN Milwaukee or ESPN Madison YouTube to watch us live. Interact with myself and Brad as we talk about whether or not the Green Bay Packers making it to the playoffs or to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl is enough. We'll have that and so much more on the other side. Keep it locked as you're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
I'll say that, man. Mark Chmura, every time I see him in the morning, get my coffee, I walk right by here and I look at him, I'm like, man, that's a handsome dude.
Sounds like you got to cull up with him too, huh?
I'd love to. I feel like I'd fit right in. You know, he's 6'6", I'd be the little spoon with you.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
You're probably being overwhelmed with information about semaglutide, the game-changing FDA-approved weight loss treatment. Jim Rutledge here. I was like you. I didn't know what it was until I saw Dr. Nessa Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. He can walk you through the benefits. He can tell you if it's right for you, and then you could come up with a plan to change your life with a workout plan and semaglutide. With that plan, I dropped 20% body fat to 10% body fat, and I dropped over 20 pounds of fat and kept my muscle. You can do the same thing. Go see Dr. Nessa Rodriguez at Carbon World Health.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Cozy up your home with fresh cabinets from SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. SprayNet knows that the kitchen is the heart of your home. Let them help you fall in love with it again. Quicker and more affordable than replacing your cabinets, SprayNet can have your kitchen cabinets looking like the day you first saw them. Their exclusive painting technology and technique will have your kitchen transformed in less than a week. Schedule an appointment today with Dale, the owner of SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. Go to spraynet.com.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. UW Credit Union presents the Prep Mania Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Dennis Semrau with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
At ESPN Madison, UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Kira Jones. Welcome.
Hey.
When was the first time you picked up a basketball?
I think I was like 6, and then like about 8th grade, I started taking it serious, falling in love with it, going to the gym with my brothers.
Now you want to go on and play in college. How's recruiting? You getting some interest?
Yeah, I'm getting recruited. I got my first D2 offer a couple days ago. I'm happy about that.
And what do you want to study in college?
Kinesiology. I want to be a physical trainer or a coach.
Coach, now you do some work and MSCR.
I like working with MSCR because I love working with kids. I think it's because I only have one nephew, so I was rarely around kids and I'm the baby.
Well, East Side Pride, that's a big thing. Being a PERG holder, what does that mean to you?
Being a leader, East presents that, wanting more leaders. A lot of leaders came out of the school.
Greg Scalzo here for Buck and Honeys. Congratulations to the perennial Best of Madison Award winner by the folks at Madison Magazine. Meet me at Buck and Honeys to celebrate Wisconsin hospitality. Whether you're enjoying the view on the Yahara River in Monona, exploring Wanakee, visiting the OG in Sun Prairie, or checking out the new location in Mount Horeb, you can enjoy the Buck and Honeys experience in a neighborhood near you. Serving lunch and dinner 7 days a week with brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you at Buck and Honeys.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
For Anderson Carl. Why? Cuz, I mean, he would have had this in his headphones. He definitely would have been ready. Heck, you should be happy Pac-Man Jones has had this on his headphones, or he definitely would have pulled up on you.
I think Pac-Man's lucky I didn't have this on my headphones.
Oh, you right.
I would have
right.
been I'm really feeling swaggy and confident.
You would say, yeah, you're in my space. What you gonna do?
Because even just hearing the song, like, for those who on the YouTube, they can see I'm bobbing my head right now. Like, this is like, okay.
Go ahead, say, ski. There you go.
It's pretty good, right?
Ski.
Man, that feels good, baby.
Yeah, you feel, I see that ski. It makes
Flag on the play.
It definitely make you feel good. But I guess my take here, thinking the Packers making it to the conference championship game is the absolute floor and the absolute expectations that we're having this conversation about what KBN Nation believes the expectation is for the 2024 season for the Green Bay Packers. Is it just making the playoffs? Is it making it to the conference championship, or is it making it to the Super Bowl? I thought I was actually in a good space, but I'm being called delusional here at the Talking Text line, 800-990-3776. That's the ESPN Wisconsin Talking Text line. I would love to hear from people about this because I truly don't think it's that far off. David said, Kyle is delusional. You can say that about all teams that lost in divisional games in the two teams that lost yesterday, that their floor is basically making it to the NFC Championship. I don't think that's wrong for teams to have the same goal, but they should all be disappointed. If you think Lions fans aren't disappointed in the fact that their team had a lead yesterday and should be in the Super Bowl, or the Baltimore Ravens fans, after everybody thinking they're the clear-cut first-place team and best team, not only in the AFC and the NFL, aren't disappointed because they thought their floor was the Super Bowl, that's okay. You can fail, but people can be disappointed with failure.
I think, to me, the rule of thumb is once as you get there twice, that now becomes your floor. So I look at the Baltimore Ravens, right? So they've been to the AFC Championship game now twice. They've lost both times, so that's no longer enough. Like the bar has now been raised. So for the Green Bay Packers, they get back to the divisional round next year, and they lose. I won't say like that was a failing season, but I will say you can't make it 3 times. At that point, got to take a step forward. You can't fail to get to the next place 3 years in a row. So if they get there next year, get to the divisional round, I'll say, okay, cool. They've shown it isn't a fluke. But now, in 2025, got to take that next step forward.
JB said at 800-990-3776, the ESPN Wisconsin Talking Text line, he said the floor is definitely making the playoffs. Super Bowl champs is ceiling. Same expectations as Rodgers and Favre's. And he also went on to say, I wish Benny was here to call out Kyle's ridiculous take. I don't.
That's what he's here for now.
I guess so. When did wanting to win championships? When did wanting to make it farther? When did wanting to make it a step further than what you had the year before? When did that become delusional? To me, that's nonsense. You should making it to the divisional round. How was that accomplishment? How?
That's really hard to do.
Well, it's really hard to do, but you already did it. You already did it. If you're playing a video game and you already made it to level 10, and then you try to play the video game again after a year later and you only make it to level 10, we'd be like, oh, wow, I made it to level 10 again. That's fantastic. No, you'd be like, well, dang, I already made it to level 10 a couple years ago. I want to get further. I want to get to the boss. And the boss in this case is the Super Bowl championship game.
To me, it's just making it to the same round twice over. Then it becomes stale because the Packers pierced through, right? They pierced to the playoffs, winning a game. That's huge. They've crushed through a wall that usually holds teams back. If they get there again, I'll feel good about it. I'll feel good that it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't a mishap, that they have proven that that's who they are. But then after that, the third year, so this will be 2025, that's when I feel like, okay, you've proved it twice now. Now you got to break through. So I think you're just 1 year ahead of me, Kyle. And honestly, too, man, it's just really hard to make the playoffs. It's really hard to get there. At some point, they got to do it. I just don't think they're there yet.
I mean, you talked about your Carolina Panther football team. How many times did it take you guys to get to the Super Bowl?
We basically went three years. But the third year, we made the Super Bowl. So first year
you did what?
First year, won the division, lost in the first round.
Okay.
Next year, won the division, won a game.
Okay.
And then the next year, we won.
So wait a minute. You went step by step by step. The steps went up. They didn't stay linear or flat. They went up. You went up in the direction.
To be fair, in the first 2 years we won the division, we had a worse record the second year. So we did not get the bye. First year, got the bye, won the division, still lost divisional round. Next year, we had to play wild card weekend, won then, and then lost in the divisional round. I mean, I get what you're saying, right? Because it feels like you want to take steps forward. You want to get there. But at the same time, I think It was after the second time losing in the divisional round. At that point, we're like, we're more than ready. Like, we are so ready to get after this. We're no longer satisfied with this being it. So I think after losing the divisional round next year, if that's what happens to the Packers, I'll say, good stuff. No longer satisfied there, though. I am still satisfied with it after this year.
I think this team is resilient, and I don't think they'll be satisfied with getting to the same spot. I saw the way Christian Watson was sitting on that bench. He was upset. He was hurt. I was hurt as well, and I think my Packers can do it. But does Jason Wilde believe the Green Bay Packers can do it? I'm not sure. But you know what, Brad? I think my Packers can do it, and I'll always prove that on Underdog because I pick my Packers always on the higher with Underdog Fantasy. And this weekend, I talked about how I wasn't going to watch any of the games. Well, I found myself watching a little bit of the games. But you know why I watched the games?
Why's that?
I watched the games because of the fact that I was playing Underdog Fantasy, and I had people and I had picks in both of those games. And when you play Underdog Fantasy, it makes the games much more fun. It's stressful sometimes, a thing to celebrate for as well. And that's why you should join in on the fun with Underdog Fantasy. I want you right now to either go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go to your app store and download the Underdog Fantasy app so you can play as well. I'm telling you, it makes watching these games so much more fun because all of a sudden you're like me and you're cheering for Amon-Ra St. Brown to have under 7.5 catches. You're trying to figure out why George Kittle only has 27 yards. You're trying to figure out why Jahmyr Gibbs won't get the ball in the second half so he can get to 49.5. On and on and on. It could be so fun when you're playing Underdog Fantasy. And so the great thing about it, you can play the pick'em game. You pick between 2 to 5 players. You select higher or lower on player stats. And if your pick hits, you guess what? You can win up to 100 times your money. Yes, 100 times your money. It's so fun and super easy to play. So get started today by downloading their easy-to-use mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and make sure you use sign-up promo code KBN. That is sign-up promo code KBN, and they will double your first deposit up to $100. So again, go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go to the App Store and download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code KBN, and they will double your money up to $100 on your first deposit. You must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Download Underdog Fantasy today. Jason Wilde's up next. We'll ask him about this floor question about the Green Bay Packers. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN.
Yeah, let them do this. I ain't doing it.
You're not going to hurt our
No,
feelings.
come on.
Just mine.
Homer, come on.
Yo, fuck, I should be doing this time. I should be 2 to 6. That good enough for you? You need any more?
That's fair. Don.
Need any more? What?
Us?
Yeah.
Y'all
2, 3, 4.
You're all the same.
There we
Nobody's
go.
as good as me.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Julie, you've been here at Pasquale's for a while. What comes to mind when you think of Pasquale's Cantina?
Fun, fresh, local, and the best margaritas in town.
Ah, yes, and that's because we have the largest tequila selection in Madison and the surrounding area. For me, I love that we're Madison's favorite friends and family gathering spot.
That's because of our great customers who have followed Pasquale's over the years. So for me, it's our guests that make Pasquale's Cantina.
Bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina.
Sockbury Healthcare is here to help. To help with your shoulder pain,
your knee injury,
that hip that bothers you, with your foot or ankle pain.
We focus on quality.
We focus on results.
And take time to listen.
So that your care is the best care. For you.
You.
For you. We're here for you.
Sauk Prairie Healthcare Orthopedics. Listening, healing, caring. It's in our nature.
January means it's playoff time for football. The best teams give their best to win the game. And Metro Kia of Madison is giving their best on these amazing lease offers. Get in a 2024 Kia Forte GT for only $299 per month. For 36 months, $3,400 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year. Or drive a 2024 Kia Sportage right off the lot for only $3,500 down and $499 a month for 36 months. Again, 10,000 miles per year. Get these deals at Metro Kia of Madison.
The NBA season is going strong, and there's no easier way to get in on the action than with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Fantasy sports, real money. The way to play is simple. Pick between 2 to 5 players, select higher or lower on player stats, and if the picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. Underdog Fantasy is legal in Wisconsin and a ton of fun to play along as you're watching the Bucks play. It has become a big part of my game watching routine, and now I have the ability to win some real money while rooting for my favorite players. You can see how easy it is to play, and getting started is even easier. Go to Underdog Fantasy's easy-to-use mobile app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code KBN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, you get a special pick of higher than 0.5 total yards to use on your first pick'em entry. That's promo code KBN. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Stoughton Health, in collaboration with patient and family advisors, seeks to advance the healthcare experience at Stoughton Health by providing a forum for past patients and families to provide feedback on a variety of healthcare and other related topics. Advisors offer constructive feedback on their personal journey at Stoughton Health, helping to elevate the patient experience and increase satisfaction. Interested? Please call Amy at 608-873-2308.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Tell me now, do you want it? 'Cause these dancing feet don't cry to the rhythm they cry for you. And every Saturday night that you ain't keep my tears blue.
We are excited to be joined by Packers reporter and also co-host of Wildy and Tausch. You can hear Wildy and Tausch weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon here on ESPN Wisconsin. Jason Wildy, welcome in.
What do you mean, speaking of Wildy and Tausch?
Speaking, guess what I said?
Yeah, were you speaking about it before I came on?
I think we were speaking about Jason,
Just
I don't
briefly
know.
talking about
we were saying how great it is to get your opinions and thoughts on all this, and I'm sitting here as I'm writing questions, thinking about what I want to ask Jason about. And nothing bad here, Jason, but I was reminiscing. I asked Brad during the break, what Super Bowl was the Super Bowl where the Packers lost to the Broncos, and it was 32. And as we're kind of talking about how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl, do you think the Packers Super Bowl window is wide open, or do you think the Packers fans should pump the brakes just a little bit because it ain't that easy just to get to a Super Bowl?
You're right about both, right? I mean, the window is open, but that doesn't mean you're going to get through the window and to the Super Bowl like that. It is really hard. I still can't get over. I didn't even think about this going into yesterday's games. But the fact that the 49ers, who are one of the creme de la creme of NFL franchises, right? You'd say the Patriots, the Packers, the 49ers, I guess Washington once upon a time, obviously the Cowboys. But, you know, we talk about the Cowboys playoff drought. The 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl in 29 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's crazy.
That is like that. I think that underscores just how hard it is. And so, you know, yesterday, you know, obviously a team that has never been to the Super Bowl had a very nice lead and then squandered it all. the Lions still haven't won a title since 1957. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to get there. And, I think first the Patriots and now the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are making us think that maybe it's not as hard as it actually is. The fact that Mahomes, what has he been? He's been the starter for 6 years, and he's been to 6 AFC championship games, and what is this, his 4th Super Bowl? I mean, they're wrecking the curve now too, almost as much as Brady did. So, I look at the Packers and their history and how many times they had opportunities, and one thing or another happened and prevented them from getting to the Super Bowl. The fact that they only had 3 Super Bowl appearances with the two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I know that fans want more, and I don't blame fans for wanting more, but I think, you would have loved for either of them, to do what Brady and Mahomes have done, but for a myriad of reasons, they weren't able to. So it's really hard, and I think Packers fans should be excited about the possibility, but there are no guarantees, and I think that's why a lot of folks were disappointed that they squandered the opportunity a week ago Saturday.
Jason, as I watched the games yesterday, I felt like I could take each of the 4 teams and distill down their identity with ultimate clarity, right? And we could go through each one and be what each of those are, but it got me thinking, okay, if I can do that with all of these championship-level teams, where I can be like, yes, identity is toughness, identity is elite quarterback play, identity is nasty defense, whatever it is, I was kind of still left grasping for what the Packers' identity is. Even with all of their success this season, do you think that they've established that identity that we can label on them?
So what's the 49ers' identity?
I had their identity as elite playmakers and rushing the passer, but primarily like elite skill playmakers.
And Baltimore, it was physical defense?
Nasty physical defense. For Detroit, I had toughness in running the football. And for Kansas City, elite Hall of Fame quarterback play. And risk-taking,
yes. And for many years, the Packers' identity was Hall of Fame quarterback play, right?
That's correct.
So, they were in I think, and I'm not faulting you, Brad, because I would never find any criticism of you.
Of course.
But I think if we're being realistic and if we're being honest, like, this was a transition year for the Packers. And I don't think it's surprising that they didn't necessarily have a clear-cut identity. I mean, their identity during the first half of the season was not being able to score in the first half of games. And then they kind of figured things out, right? I would say that as of now, their identity for 2023 was really good offensive play design and lots of young, improving talent, which is not really a great identity because it doesn't necessarily equate to playoff success. They managed to get within 2 wins of a Super Bowl berth, but you know what I mean? Like, that's no one wants their identity to be, well, we're young, but we've got really good play calls. But that's kind of what they were, and I thought, again, I was really critical of Matt LaFleur, and I probably was mildly inappropriate with one of my questions in the press conference last Monday when, he said he was willing to give up play calling if that's what it took for the defense. And I wanted to say, dude, have you lost your mind? And I kind of did. You can't say that so flippantly, Matt. I mean, you're coming off of a year where you and your quarterback, your first-year starting quarterback, were very much in sync. And so I think that will continue to be their identity, is that they have a really well-designed offense. I think Matt LaFleur answered a lot of haters with what they did in the second half of the season and with how much Jordan developed. But I don't know, like, I'm trying to think back. 96, obviously, they had a very physical, talented defense with a couple of Hall of Famers on it. And in 2010, they had a physical, smart, talented defense with at least one Hall of Famer on it, and Charles Woodson. But I don't know if there's been many times over the years where you could say that their defense was even part of their identity. When you have 2 great quarterbacks, and now you're hoping that Jordan Love is the next in line, and certainly the early returns are very encouraging, you're probably always going to be defined by your offense. And they've obviously hired almost exclusively offensive-oriented head coaches. So, I don't have a problem with them having or not having a clear-cut identity this year. But you're right, and you certainly know this from playing in the league. So you played for Jack Del Rio?
Ron Rivera for the Panthers. Doug Marrone, Gus Bradley.
Okay, and then Ron Rivera was your only coach in Carolina?
Yes.
Okay, and so you would have been after, what was it, the John Fox era was before that, I guess?
Yeah.
Or was it? So when you have Ron Rivera, member of the '85 Bears, right? What is your identity for that team?
Well, that team was tough, physical defense with playmaking quarterback.
Yeah, and won an MVP with your help.
Yeah, and elite punting play.
Here it is.
Well, sure. Long-time NFL punter. Yep.
That's right.
So I guess I guess what I'm saying is that it tends to be, if you have a defense, you better have an elite physical defense if you have a defensive-minded head coach, right? Because otherwise, what the heck did you hire the guy for?
Yeah,
right?
I always felt that whoever the head coach's specialty is, kind of got to get that side of the ball right.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I don't know, like they obviously went away from it for 1 year in 1999 when you were some sort of grade schooler in Brookfield.
Ray Rose, baby.
But generally, yeah. And that didn't last very long,
Oh,
right?
It
lasted
8-8.
Lasted longer than Adrian Griffin, though. But the reality is that if that has been the Packers' brand for a long time, going back to Holmgren, right? I mean, they tried other defensive coaches, et cetera, but the fact of the matter is that's always been their identity. And for as long as Matt LaFleur's here, and I would be willing to bet that if for some reason Matt LaFleur, doesn't coach for a decade, he's already going into year 6. I would guess that it's because Jordan Love either turns out to not be as good as we think he is right now, or they decide to go a different direction after a disappointing season or two, and I still bet they end up with an offensive-minded head coach. That's just what they do around here.
Yeah. Jason, before we let you go, speaking of identity, you've got an identity for being able to call out injustice and things that when you see it, it just rubs you the wrong way. So I know you're going to agree with me when you say that there is a disservice against all specialists, particularly Justin Tucker, when Mahomes and Kelsey was taking the kicking sticks and taking the footballs and moving him off his spot in rude, bullying fashion. Do you agree with me that they are indeed in the wrong and my kicker had an injustice done upon him? Not my kicker, but my specialists in general.
For sure. I understand that everybody likes Travis Kelsey now because he's dating T. Swizzle, and everybody loves Patrick Mahomes. I've mentioned this on some of our other programs. I am down on Patrick Mahomes in a huge way. I'm rooting against him in the Super Bowl now for disrespecting my friend Mike Carr, who was the down judge when he lost.
He apologized, didn't he?
I don't remember that. I remember him doubling down and saying that call still shouldn't have been made. You have Pebble find the apology. If he apologized to Mike Carr, I just won't root against him quite as loud. But that was rude, obnoxious, bullying. I mean, specialists. I understand they don't get the respect they deserve. I mean, certainly specialists at Good Karma Brands. I mean, we could bring in some long snappers next, but we always respect all of our specialists and all of our former NFL players. But no doubt about it, that was flat out wrong and brutish behavior that I do not approve of. They were out of line, and I respect the fact, by the way, that Justin Tucker kind of brushed it off and said, it's not that big of a deal. But he's got every right to warm up, and he actually moved this stuff once before, and apparently he didn't move far enough. They decided to just chuck his belongings, which I don't think that's right at all.
It ain't right, Jason.
Jason, who you taking in a fight? Adam Pac-Man Jones or Brad Nortman?
Well, Pac-Man Jones is like a super dad to one of his old teammates who passed away's kids, right?
Yes,
Isn't
Chris
that,
Henry, I believe.
Story?
Chris Henry,
Yeah,
believe. Yes.
and Kyle brings it up because this brought me flashbacks of when I, in pregame, was warming up and sending punting missiles toward Pac-Man Jones, and he had some very aggressive choice words for me, and basically he had to be pulled back. So I was getting all the memories of Pac-Man Jones coming at me.
Did you guys end up being friends after that, or do we need to have some sort of maybe intervention? Could we get Pac-Man Jones on the show?
I think our people need to reach out to his people, and we need to have because I never spoke to him since then. It was just that was our
we totally need to have him on.
Yeah,
and he can tell the story about the dad he's become now and everything else. It'll be a positive thing for him.
There you go.
You guys can be pals. All right, Pebble's on it. I know he's on it.
Thank you.
Luck. Good luck, Chris.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks,
Jason Wilde, thanks for joining us here today.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Again, that was Jason Wilde. You can hear Jason Wilde every weekday on Wilde and Tausch on ESPN Wisconsin, 9 a.m. to noon. He didn't answer the question. I don't think he wanted to say he would take Adam Pac-Man Jones over you.
Yeah, I respect the lack of answer. Very, very tactful, Jason Wilde. He's not gonna be able to, say too much negative things about me because I can't say anything negative about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's right. Gina Della from Pella always deliver, especially now when, it's cold outside. You've got freezing temperatures, warming temperatures. You got snow, you got rain. You need to protect your house. You need to lower your energy bill by putting in energy efficient windows, keeping the cold outside where it belongs. And Pella, not always do they always deliver when it comes to incredible installation, customer satisfaction, totally elite product that you're going to be so satisfied with when it comes to windows and doors. They also offer the best deals. The deal right now, it's ending in 2 days, so you got to act quick, January 31st. But this deal, too good to be true. But it is. 0% interest up to 36 months. That's right. 0% interest up to 36 months. That's 3 years of no interest on your Pella windows and doors when they come and install it for you. But you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
We'll have more conversation on the other side as we wrap up the ESPN Wisconsin Hour here on KBN. Keep it locked.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
He is now off his rocker saying it. Well, if I played...
Choke artists. Choke artists, choke artists, choke artists. That's what you both are. Yeah, I said it. You both are choke artists.
Losers, choke artists.
That's what you are. You
frauds,
choked against
what else are
TCU.
we?
You choked against Oregon. You choked against Kentucky. Y'all choked against Duke. I can keep going.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. The Wisconsin Badgers football team has hired former USC defensive coordinator Alex Grinch as their new safeties coach. Grinch replaces Colin Hitchler, who left to become an assistant coach at Alabama after one season in Madison. Grinch is a 4-time nominee for the Broyles Award given to the nation's top assistant coach and was a semifinalist in 2017 and 2019. Grinch has also coached at the University of Missouri, the University of Wyoming, and the University of New Hampshire, following his playing days as a defensive back at Mount Union College. Wisconsin plays USC in Week 5 of the upcoming season.
Badger Minutes on ESPN Wisconsin are brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule an appointment online today at PellaWI.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
You can drive cutting-edge design. 2024 Audis are on the lot and ready for delivery. You can save $7,500 on select Audi EVs with the AFS EV lease bonus. See dealer for details and exclusions. Eligibility is subject to credit approval through Audi Financial Services. Cannot be combined with national customer credit. Offer expires January 31st, 2024. Stop in and test drive today. Check out our website to see our current electric vehicle inventory and our monthly specials. The search for your Audi begins and ends at Zimbrick Audi of Madison, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road. Drive yours today.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Hey, what's up? I'm Elle Duncan, host of the Elle Duncan Show. If you're looking for a podcast that gives you a little bit about a lot and a lot about nothing, you've come to the right place. There's pop culture, there's sports, really anything that we find particularly interesting that you're talking about on social media. And oh yeah, I do it with this guy named Gary Streisky, who's a homie.
Hey, Elle, what's going on? Thanks for the mention. Can I get on the graphic now?
No. Follow and listen to the Elle Duncan Show wherever you get your podcasts.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Dash the Dane. That's right, Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company has expanded their delivery offerings with DoorDash. New customers get $5 off your first order of $25 or more. And don't forget, Dash Pass subscribers always receive free delivery. Order delivery today at GreatDanePub.com or on the DoorDash app and get food delivered from the Great Dane closest to you. Downtown, Hilldale, Fitchburg, or East Madison. Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. You can watch us live on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and also at ESPN Madison on YouTube. I am Kyle Wallace. He is Brad Nortman. There is no Ben Brust today because baby Brust has arrived. And so we're all hoping that maybe Ben retires some of his antics now that he has a child that looks up to him.
You always
probably correct.
You always hear that, it changes you, man. Being a dad changes the way you look at things, changes what's important, and, we're going to find out. We're going to find out that's the case for old Ben Brust.
We're definitely going to find out. I'm curious if he's going to be reading books to his newborn child, in the Matty Mouse voice. When this went that guy. That's probably a more accurate time to use the voice, right? That childish voice.
What happens when Ben's child grows up, is in 5th grade, and they're asking him 5th grade questions? You think he's going to be able to get it right after all these years of Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust? Think he's going to be a resource for the child, or do you think he's going to be like a liability?
I would hope that Ben would be a great resource. I mean, he's taken Are You Smarter Than? Help me out, Chris. Are You Smarter Than's been on, they've been doing that for how many years now?
At least a few. I think he's 7-6-1 right now in the new KBN version of Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust?
But he did it on Scals on Brust.
He's even said before that he remembers some of the answers from some of the previous questions that we duplicated since we've started the KBN version of it.
So if anything, he should be more than ready for his child's all the questions that they have. He should be ready to answer all those questions.
I think he would be. Something tells me, though, that his child would probably beat him. Probably an undefeated record.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, you know what you're talking about.
I mean, his girlfriend's pretty smart, so I think hopefully the baby gets the genes in the brains from mama and not from Ben. And
basically everything from mama, right? I mean,
yes.
Brains. I mean, every looks and calmness and the whole thing.
I hope so. I think
Just kidding. We love you, Ben.
No, we do love Ben, but I do stand by what I say. I hope that all that does come from Ben. And as we've been talking about here, and we get ready to wrap up, I just can't believe that people really set the bar so low for the Green Bay Packers that they think making the playoffs is an accomplishment when that's what you've basically done for the last 30 years is make the playoffs.
Earlier in the show, Kyle, I called it true strength, that you are willing to put yourself in such a vulnerable position, being a Packers fan, being an all-in Packers fan. But you know what? The roller coaster ride that comes with it, I'm all of a sudden starting to feel not so bad, because if your expectations are Super Bowl, your expectations are NFC Championship game, that vulnerability will slingshot like crazy, and it's no wonder you end up in heartbreak every year.
Well, I'm curious. Yeah, I do. I'm curious to know what you think. If you think that you want to set the expectations for making the playoffs for the Milwaukee Bucks, for